So, hi everyone, my name is Kay from UTS Careers and a very warm welcome to today's session, and we'll get things started. I'd like to formally open this session by acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, upon whose ancestral lands our city campus and my home now stands. I'd like to pay respect to the elders both past and present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodians of knowledge for this land. So hello everyone, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today to get started with our You at Uni workshop. My name is Kay Carr and today I'm joined by my co-host Asita. Asita, you'd like to say a quick hello?
Welcome everyone, so excited that we are here today to share this session with you and really excited to see you kicking off and kicking off this experience for your learning. Thank you, Kay.
Thanks, Asita. We have a total of 63 teams across 22 schools participating in this workshop and competition. A very warm welcome to students from Canada Vale High School today who are joining us live, and to those of you who are watching the recording, welcome. It's great to have you all here, and we're excited to support you through your hackathon journey over the next few weeks. So you may be wondering who UTS Careers are. We are the team that supports students with careers advice while studying at UTS. We help out with everything from career direction, job applications, interview preparation, and a whole lot more. And we do this by offering free digital resources, programs, and events, such as one-on-one appointments and group coaching sessions. And UTS do love to host hackathon competitions. And this workshop will really help you experience what life at uni might be like, particularly when you get to working on your group assignments. So we can see our session outline for today. We're currently getting started with the introductions. We'll then provide you with an overview of your hackathon workshop. Following that, we'll explore the important elements of your challenge brief. And after that, we'll share essential teamwork and presentation tips before closing the session. So today, this session will be packed with key information to help you succeed in this workshop. You might like to take some notes of our tips and hints as we go. It's also a chance for you to ask questions. You are welcome to post your questions using the Q&A function and use the upvote option if you can already see a question that you'd like to know the answer to, and we'll prioritize those. We will take time to pause for Q&A as we go through, and you can ask anything about the workshop or the challenge brief. Just a reminder, please, to use respectful and professional language when posting questions today, as they are visible to everyone in the call, and that was the same for the chat function. So just the Q&A instructions you can see on this slide at the bottom of your screen. You should see the Q&A window, and we ask that you use this function to post your workshop questions, as you won't be able to access your audio or video today. You can ask your questions anonymously, and as mentioned, upvote questions you like by clicking on the thumbs up icon next to the relevant question. In terms of activities, you'll be invited to participate in a few Zoom polls during this session. We'll also be sharing some helpful links and resources in the chat, as shown in this image. And if you have one team member navigating your device, we suggest that maybe you save the links on a document or somewhere else on behalf of your team. So before we get into the workshop, we'd like to know how you are going through a short poll. And we have 3 questions for you that Asita is going to launch. So today we are keen to know how you're feeling today, or how your team is feeling today. You could be excited, maybe a bit confused, motivated, confident, happy. What about if you could have a superpower? Would you like to be invisible, have super strength, talk to animals, fly, read minds? And finally, do you or your team know much about your challenge topic, the future of work? Yes, a little bit, no idea, all of those are fine. So once we have all the votes in, we'll share the results. I'll give you just a little bit of time to do that. Okay. So let's have a look at the results. It's totally okay to be confused. And really, that's why we're here today, to answer any questions that you might have. I think any superpower, I'd take anyone, but I think being invisible would be really cool. That's something I think that would be, you know, a real advantage. And I think I've got a few people here that would also like to be invisible, but reading minds, that's a cool one too. And it would seem, in terms of the topic, some of you know a little bit, some have no idea. That's also great, because we're going to cover all of that content today. So really, thank you very much for completing the poll. And we'll now take you through an overview of your hackathon workshop. Okay, so what is a hackathon? A hackathon can be broadly defined as a method of creative problem solving. It can run for a few hours or it can run for a few days. It really started with tech companies where they first started running hackathons in the 90s, and the idea behind that was to really advance software development and coding innovations. However, in this context, we're talking about an activity that requires fast-paced collaboration of team members. The aim really is to come together and collectively harness a diversity of skills, perspectives and ideas in order to find creative solutions to issues we experience in our community or society. Now, your hackathon is a self-paced experience, and this means that your team will be in charge of deciding how you'll work through the challenge together. Now, we recommend using the team charter, and we're going to share the link in the Q&A or the chat, which is in the Canvas module. Welcome to the program. Topic 3, connect with your team. The overall goal of your hackathon is to progress through our challenge brief as a team and to present your solution as a 5-minute video pitch. Now, this involves 4 key elements. Firstly, our online Canvas modules. Now, these are designed to take you through every key stage of the hackathon. Now, we will look at these in a little bit more detail later, but the idea is that you complete them sequentially, so everything's just on a step-by-step basis. We've got the welcome session, which we're in now, and this is your chance to ask as many questions as possible to help you work through the challenge. The next step for you is to engage in that collaborative project work. This will include time to brainstorm, develop, and ultimately submit your pitch. And then finally, concluding the workshop with your own individual reflection on your achievements and learnings along the way. And we're going to do a few reflection sessions today, which we'll move on to shortly. So the experience started for students on Monday, the 8th of November, when access to the Canvas modules was made available. Now, we mentioned that the workshop is self-paced. However, we have provided a recommended timeline to ensure that your team is able to complete all the tasks in time. We've suggested that your team progress through the challenge by breaking it up into 3 stages. So stage 1 is involving the Canvas module topics, the introductory module. So that's module Welcome to the Program. Step 1, reviewing the challenge brief, and we recommend spending 2.5 hours on this. And I think those of you online today are actually making a start on this afternoon, so very exciting for you. Stage 2, the ideation part of your hackathon. So that covers modules in Canvas such as the collaborative brainstorming, deciding on your team's top idea, and planning your pitch together. And again, we recommend spending about 2.5 hours working through this stage. At the conclusion of the hackathon, so we're kind of getting towards the end of the month, practicing your pitch, record and submitting your team's video, and then that reflection on your hackathon's experience. and we recommend spending around 2 hours to complete the last steps of your hackathon. So we've whizzed through some details there, but we're now going to start breaking things down for you. And I'm just going to hand over to my colleague, Sita. She's going to talk through the Canvas modules. You can see, you'll be able to see that the modules follow an easy 7-step process to guide you through. But we've also included an introductory module to help get you started and provide some background information. So Isita, I'd be grateful if you just walk us through the Canvas modules.
Thanks, Kay. Just checking that you can see the Canvas module, Kay?
We can indeed, thank you.
Thank you, Kay. So once you get onto your Canvas module, if you haven't already, you'll come across your welcome page. And obviously we've got 2 options. With all the 63 schools, we've got 2 options, and you're in option A, as you can see from that. It's your self-paced experience in the next few weeks that you work through your project on. And I'll just go into student view now, so you can see it from a student perspective. When you land on the landing page, you'll see to the left here are all your modules. So if you click on that, you'll get into your Welcome to the Program module, and then it's all structured by steps right up till the final step, which is your reflection of your hackathon experience. So for module 1, we've already started that with your workshop today, and you're getting started. What you're going to do after this as well is the connect with your team. So you'll notice that this says complete all items. Whatever you've done for today, it will be ticked off in your Canvas module, and then the rest will open up for you as well. Also, keeping in mind that we have our discussion board here, so we'll have ambassadors. So you will actually have an ambassador with you this afternoon to be able to answer any questions you have. But we give you the option of either reaching out to the ambassadors on this if you have any questions during the time that you're working through your project this afternoon. If you want to share any of your experiences, you can go in there as well. So that's the discussion board, and it's really important that you are able to ask those questions throughout. But keeping in mind that this is your challenge brief, it's really important that you understand what we're asking of you and what is expected of you in terms of presenting your solutions back. The collaborative brainstorming is really important because there's so many different ways in the workplace and also at university, different types of brainstorming to come up with ideas, to then decide which is the idea that you go with, and then being able to present on that idea with the solutions. So that's the deciding on your team's top idea. We've given you tips and hints on how you can do that, but also planning your pitch together. So remembering that it's only 5 minutes, so trying to have the key points in there that will give the audience a really good summary of your solutions. Practicing together as well, we'll go through the information that's there. It's really about making sure that you practice as much as possible. We talk about your presentation skills as well. And then of course the little details about recording. So some teams may be able to record together, some teams might need to record separately and put it together. But you should be able, we've got all our ways of being able to record and upload, so uploading it onto Canvas. There's only one of you that actually needs to upload that final copy of your presentation video. And then right at the end is just to finish off is talking about your reflecting on your hackathon experience. That's something that's really important because all the learnings that you take from this is something that's also good for your career in the long run, for when you come to study at UTS. Just learning and reflective exercises are quite common at most universities. So that's a brief overview of your Canvas module, and I hope that will be helpful for you throughout your experience. And I might go back to sharing our slides, and I'll hand over back to you, Kay.
Wonderful, thank you, Isita. So looking at the challenge, to succeed in your hackathon, it really is going to help if you understand the challenge. So exactly as Isita mentioned. So let's take a bit more of a look at what the challenge is all about. So on the first page of your briefing document, you'll find information on your challenge, the recommended format of the presentation, and your audience. So let's look at each of these elements in more detail. And we've got Steffi who's going to share the challenge brief and the student activity plan in the chat. So the challenge. The overall hackathon challenge is to prepare students for the future of work by designing a school-based learning activity which develops 1 or 2 human-centered skills required to succeed in these future work environments. I think, Isita, we're on presenter mode, so just if we can share. Brilliant. Thank you so much. The presentation format, you'll be required to present your idea in the form of a 5-minute video pitch, and this will be assessed according to the Capri criteria. Now, I believe you should all be familiar with this, and your final video will need to be pre-recorded and, as Isita mentioned, uploaded to Canvas. Now, you may choose to record your pitch within the Canvas platform, or you can choose other platforms such as Zoom, and then you can upload the recording. And this process, of course, will be dependent on how you as a team work together. You could record in one room using the same device, or you could record virtually. So the audience, the target audience is NESA, the New South Wales Standards Education Authority. So just remember that when you're designing and pitching your solution. They are the state body that manage quality teaching, learning, assessment and school standards in New South Wales. And you'll need to make sure that your final pitch is polished and convincing enough for NESA to implement your idea across Australian high schools. And as mentioned, the full challenge brief document and video can be found in Canvas modules 1A and 1B, and we are able to share that in the chat. So yes, so just mentioning that NESA, they really aim to ensure that all children and young people in New South Wales leave school ready to take advantage of life's opportunities, as well as to rise to its inevitable challenges. So you might want to just bear that in mind as you're preparing your brief. Okay, let's have a look now at the judging process. So we have a deadline of Wednesday, 1st of December, first day of summer, by 6 p.m. Now, all of the videos will be reviewed by a team of staff members from UTS Careers, and those top 3 videos will be determined by our team. Once they have been established, what we will do is share these with an industry representative from Google, and the Google representative will then decide on the overall winner of this hackathon. And a nice bonus, in addition, all members of the winning team will receive a $25 gift certificate. Now, details on the judging form can be found on page 4 of the challenge brief and page 5 of the student guide. So, understanding the topic. To find a solution to the challenge, you'll need to understand the topic. So let's unpack some of these key terms. Firstly, what do we mean by the future of work? We all know that the world of work is changing rapidly, and that's due to a complex mix of social, political, and technological factors. Your brief explores how new technological advances in the workplace is likely to result in many aspects of work becoming automated. This might mean that many current roles will no longer exist. However, many new roles will be created. And these changes will allow us to innovate and focus our skills on more complex tasks. For example, creating better human experiences. It will be increasingly important for us to focus on developing what are referred to as human-centered skills. So let's take a look at what we mean by human-centered skills on the next slide. Human-centered skills are attributes and personality traits that we have as a result of our human qualities and knowledge. And these are skills that machines can't learn. We develop them through our social interactions and learning experiences we go through life. For example, as we learn to adapt to new situations or use different approaches when solving complex challenges. Examples of human-centered skills include critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and leadership skills. And these human-centered skills are important for the future of work as they are difficult to replicate through technology and help us to manage and adapt to these environments in the workplace. The next part of your challenge asks you to design a school-based learning activity to help students develop human-centered skills for the future of work. What this means is that you'll need to develop a learning activity that creates a safe environment when students gain exposure to critical discussion and new ideas around our challenging topic. As student yourself, you know that a successful learning activity will need to be both interesting and informative to introduce new concepts to students. But also remember, this content also needs to be appropriate for delivery in a school environment and to the target audience, NESA. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, and we don't actually have to, you're not having to write anything or say anything, it's just a period of reflection for you to take a moment to think about your all-time favorite learning activity that you've completed at school. Was it on school camp? Was it at a club? Was it part of a competition? And as you're thinking about this activity, consider why you enjoyed it so much. Why was it a fun and engaging experience? You might want to jot down some of your responses to this and think about incorporating them into your own pitch. Just give you a few more moments just to have a think about that. Your favorite learning activity at school. What made it engaging? Why did you enjoy it? Okay, thank you everyone. So we'll move on to just thinking about items you need to have at front of mind when you are putting this together, your key considerations. So first of all, let's look at the purpose. Which human-centered skills are you going to focus on and why? Remember, you've only got 5 minutes, so what you're going to need to focus down. And how will these skills complement automation in the future? You might want to consider doing some research and maybe have some statistics to support your position or argument. Think about who your audience are. Are you going to target all high school students? Or are you looking to target a particular year group? And tell us why you've chosen your audience as part of your pitch. Look at the learning activity. Think about what kind of activity you'll design. For example, would it be a competition? Would it be a subject? Would you like to deliver it as a workshop or an online learning module? Could it be a creative project or an exhibition? Think about what activity will be most appealing to your chosen audience. We also want you to consider the length and time of activity. For example, are you going to select a longer program because you want to cover more human-centered skills? Or are you looking for a shorter program to make it more student-focused and engaging? And then you've also got to consider how easy is it going to be for you to pull it off? How straightforward will it be for you to put your learning activity in place? Will you need to get any approval from your school? Would you need to arrange for equipment or a room or additional technology? Just think about how feasible your approach is going to be. Are there any budget considerations? How much will it cost to put your learning activity into action? So that could also be an important factor. Any stakeholders, so who will be required to collaborate with to bring your idea to life? Do you need to get some teachers on board? Are there local community partners such as businesses or organisations? Could you utilise the skills of some of your peer groups and other year groups? Your councils? Is there a careers advisor? Could there be somebody in your family that could assist you? And then finally, just think about how you will attract the participants, how you will advertise or promote your learning activity to maximize engagement. So have a think about your marketing strategy. Okay, so there's quite a lot to consider there, isn't there? But you've got lots of time to review this. Okay, so we're just going to look now at the challenge brief and that will be, you should already have had that in the chat, but it should be there for you. Understanding the brief is key, but also if you do need a refresher, you can always watch the challenge brief video, and that's in Canvas module 1A, or the link on page 1 of your briefing document. So Asita's just navigating to that now. You can see that's where the link to the video is. So if you get stuck in this afternoon and you think, gosh, I just need a refresher, it's there for you on page 1. Thanks, Asita. Okay, I've talked a lot. And we'd like to pause now for questions. Just want to know, do we have any questions in the Q&A, Asita or Steffi? Steph just reminded there that you can post your questions using the Q&A function, and we'll just pause to look at that now.
We've just gotten one. How long will this be? If you're talking about this workshop, it finishes it's an hour-long workshop, so we're finishing at 2 o'clock. But if you're talking about the overall hackathon, those dates we will remind you again at the end, because it's got your when your video is due, but we'll remind you again in terms of the timings throughout. So that one I've answered live. Let's have a look. Done. Okay. We don't have any other questions. Don't be shy. There's no stupid questions. And if we're going throughout the session, we'll have another time to be able to answer more questions. So if you're shy at this point, we've got a couple more times throughout. You just put your questions in there as they're coming through your head, put them down. And when it's Q&A time, we'll get there and we'll answer those questions as well. It's always good to ask questions, because other students are probably thinking the same as you. So you're actually helping other people out by being the brave one and asking the question.
Thanks, Asita. I'll just quickly jump in there as well. And just to remind you, so I haven't posted in the chat yet, but your student guide as well has been emailed to you and can be found in Canvas. And so I'll post that in the chat. Just, I was conscious of many links in the chat at one time. And there's also a very detailed and structured activity plan for you. So I'll post those 2 links in the chat so you have time to review them. And maybe those will lead to a few more questions. And yes, you said questions are very encouraged. This is your chance, so please post them in the Q&A function throughout the session. Thanks.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks, Asita. So we'll move on to the next phase, but as Asita's mentioned, we do have another pause in proceedings for Q&A, so there will be further options. We're now going to look at working in teams. So the next slide just really covers teamwork tasks, and just a snapshot of where your teamwork or collaborative tasks and activities sit within each module. So we include the introductory module, where you would start off by completing your team charter. So that's you agreeing to the rules of your team. And really that's when you're starting to really understand your challenge brief. In step 2, you'll need to come together with your team to share and discuss as many ideas as possible to solve the challenge. We suggest using brainstorming techniques such as rapid ideation. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically you're coming up with lots and lots of ideas, but you're not overthinking feasibility. So money's no object, time's no object. You just go absolutely wild with your thinking. Or you could do a round robin discussion where each of you take the chance to express your ideas and share your solutions, and then work together as a group to decide the one that you want to go forward with. So you'll be required to choose your team's top idea. This will involve you narrowing down your ideas, but as well as testing it to ensure that it addresses the challenge brief requirements. So once you've established what it is, go back and just check, does it meet all the requirements? Next step, plan how you'll turn your top idea into a winning pitch. What actually needs to be done? And then in step 5, you're practicing your pitch together to ensure that your delivery is smooth for when you're ready to record. Step 6, you're recording your pitch and you're electing just one person to submit in Canvas module 6B. And final step is that each team member should complete a final reflection on the hackathon experience. Okay. So we would definitely encourage you to allocate your project task based on individual strengths. And to do this, you'll need to take time to think about your key skills that support your team during the challenge. So there's the team charter link, and then we're just going to move on to a poll where you might think about what your key strength is that can help you contribute to your team to win this challenge. So it could be organization. Are you the one that's great at taking notes, keeping to time during the brainstorming? Are you super creative? You're the one that's going to design the really eye-catching visual aid, put together the video. Are you a problem solver? Do you like coming up with the creative solutions and testing the methods to ensure that your idea addresses the challenge brief? Have you got great interpersonal skills? Are you the one that makes sure that everyone has the opportunity to share their ideas? Or maybe it's your great communication skills. You're really helpful in providing feedback in a positive way. Okay, so we are looking at some brilliant problem solvers, which sounds fantastic for a hackathon. We've got some great organizational, creative skills, communication skills. So I think everyone on the call today is going to make a fantastic team member. Okay, so you can see the results there. Brilliant. Okay, so we're moving on to the next part. And this again is a reflection. So what I would like you to do is think of a positive teamwork experience you have had and what made it successful. You know, was it the time that, you know, you all took turns and everybody had a voice? Was it because it was something exciting that you were working on? Is it because people took the time to understand what your strengths were and allowed you to contribute in your best way? What made that teamwork experience successful? And again, this is maybe a really good opportunity for you to reflect and think about when you did perform really well in a team or you experienced that and how you could harness that for your hackathon. Wonderful, thank you everyone. So, working in teams, what makes a good team player? So the following qualities: active listening, so somebody who listens first and then takes the time to speak once they've taken time to consider what's actually happening. That active participation, so you're coming prepared to your meetings, you're listening and you're willing to share information. There was a lot of problem solvers on the call, so discussing the problems with your team, but collaborate to find solutions. But also being respectful, acknowledge and celebrate the differences between team members. And really, that's the way to optimize teamwork. And you see that tip there. There's more in Canvas step 2B and 2C on effective teamwork. Okay. Moving on to presentation skills. I think some of you mentioned that you're good communicators, so that looks really good in terms of presentation, but really to win this challenge, you will need to be able to effectively present your idea. We mentioned before that you're being assessed on your presentation skills against the Capri C3 criteria. So let's just remind ourselves of that. You need to be familiar with what your judges are looking for. They're going to be marking you on the 4 areas that you can see on the slide. Now, these will include your ability to clearly and precisely present ideas and information so that it's relevant to the audience. Use of the verbal and non-verbal cues to complement the ideas and information in the presentation. Good use of visual aids, which are going to complement the ideas and information in the presentation, and really building rapport with the audience to capture and maintain their interest. And again, just a reminder that the judging form can be found on page 4 of the challenge brief and page 5 of the student guide. Next slide is elements of a persuasive pitch. It really is critical to spend that time planning. You'll need to carefully consider your content, your structure, delivery, and the recording logistics. So first of all, the content. What is your solution? Does it address the challenge brief in a way that is creative, yet practical? Looking at the structure, can the audience follow and understand your solution? The delivery. Are you convincing the audience? If they were given the opportunity, would they actually invest in your idea? And then finally, the logistics and platform. How are you going to record your final pitch? Now, we've got some excellent tips and videos that explain how to plan these elements of your presentation, and those are in Canvas module step 4, plan your pitch together. Okay, so we're moving on to our final reflection for today's session. And what I would like you to do is take a moment to reflect on someone you know who is a great presenter. It might be somebody on TV, it might be a teacher at school, it could be one of your peers. Whoever it is, think about what made them a good presenter. Now, the chances are it's someone who is engaging and has strong communication skills, allowing them to confidently deliver their messages in a way that is easy to understand. So again, hopefully you've thought of someone that you enjoy watching present, and there's maybe some things there that you think, oh, maybe I want to include that in my presentation. Okay. Brings us to the next slide. Your communication is key when it comes to presentations. It's not just about what you say, but it's also your non-verbal communication, such as your facial expressions, your posture, your body language, and how your team transitions between speakers. Being aware of your communication style and skills is very important when it comes to connecting with your audience. It's not going to be enough to have the best idea if you're unable to effectively sell it to the audience. So for more guides on this, again, checking out your Canvas modules, step 4, topic 4D, delivery. So we see some of the verbal cues there: enthusiastic tone, good pace, using professional language, backing up your content with statistics and data, a verbal handover to the next speaker. Those non-verbal things are the smile, the eye contact with the camera, a confident posture, appropriate hand gestures, neat and tidy appearance, and will you need physical transitions if you're using one device? Okay. And once your team has planned your presentation, you need to practice. We suggest practicing your presentation 3 to 5 times and then record a practice run to watch back. This should be a really exciting part of the process as you see your ideas coming to life. And as a team, you can review and decide if any changes need to be made before your final recording. Canvas module step 5, start practicing your pitch, has guidelines and a reflection activity to help you finalize your presentation. So when you practice, make sure you include testing out your technology and visual aids. Sita and I do presentations like this a lot, and something inevitably goes wrong, so make sure that you have built that extra time in. So if your judges can't hear or see you, they won't be able to assess you. So make sure that you test out the tech and visual aids. Testing out the camera, the microphone, and the setup along with your internet connection. And 4E, there's a module, logistics and platform. Also, just to consider that your recording location will also impact your presentation. And so again, when practicing, figure out the best location for your team. Ideally, this is going to be somewhere quiet. Try to minimize the background noise and distractions, and ideally find a place with good lighting and a clear background. Remove anything that you wouldn't want judges to see, including personal items, because they can be quite distracting. And you really want the focus to be on your pitch. After you've reflected on your pitch, you'll need to make any necessary changes to your content, structure, delivery, or technology. It's amazing when you actually do a run through that where you see those little things that, oh gosh, we can improve that. And that's really your time to practice this new version to ensure you're really in your final flow before you record. After all that practicing, it really is time now to record your final video pitch, the one that will be assessed. A reminder that only one team member will need to go into the Canvas module step 6B to submit your final recording. If you're in the same room using one device, you can record through Canvas, or if you've used a different platform to record, you can upload your MP4 video or whatever file you're using to Canvas. Okay, so we'd now like to open up to any questions you may have. So we're just going to check the Q&A window. Please keep sending any other questions you can think of.
So we don't have any questions. You must be doing so well, Kane, explaining things.
I'll take that, Asita. Steph, from previous sessions, is there anything that you would like to draw the students' attention to?
Yes, so we had a really good question come up at one of our previous webinars, and that was to confirm if each student in the team has to be in the video pitch. And the answer is a very big yes, mainly because we are assessing your presentation skills as an individual. So that's a very important part that we need to see each team member presenting so that the judges can appropriately assess this. Some of the other questions, I guess, were to do with just, I guess, how and when the groups will be working together and, you know, how this will be organized. So we will be doing this in coordination with your teacher, and your teacher has sort of scheduled in time later on today, which is great for you to come together as your groups, and we'll keep in touch with them, but also make sure you pay attention to Canvas for announcements and reminders to make sure you're tracking well in terms of those milestones. I think those were the two key ones, Kay.
Fantastic, Steph. I really appreciate you covering those. I think there's a few students who couldn't make today's session, but this is being recorded, and if required, we can share that. So really now we're coming to our session close. And
okay.
Yes.
This was a really good one that someone had posted in the audience. I thought it was lovely. One of the reflections was, I thoroughly enjoy listening to my Extension 1 English teacher speak because of her extensive knowledge of the course and her ability to speak freely without the confines of prepared speeches. Oh. That's really great. And I think that was from Taya. Nice one, Taya.
That is, you know, there's always that one or two teachers that just stick in your mind forever, and that's there's nothing better than somebody who's just in their flow and loves what they're passionate about, what they're talking about. So that's a really great example of being able to weave that into your presentation, that, you know, energy that will come through if you're enthusiastic about your pitch. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Asita. We are now at the session close. We're probably finishing a little bit earlier than we had planned, but that's absolutely fine. Just a reminder, you know, there's lots of ways that you can get help beyond today. You know, you can do that by just letting your teachers know. We've got the student activity plan if you just need some assistance with breaking down your tasks. The student guide that we've referred to quite a few times today. So all those essential elements that you need to know about the workshop. The Canvas discussion boards. So we do have discussion boards on Canvas with a variety of topics. We also have ambassadors, You at Uni ambassadors, who will be online from every second day to respond to your questions from 12 to 1. We've also got an Instagram Q&A. So there's a session running later this week from 5 till 7. There's also another one on Thursday, the 25th. And so when Steffi gets an opportunity, she'll share the You at Uni Insta handle. So you have that for reference, and you can see it there on the slide if you want to note it down. And we have the activity plan and the student guide. Okay, so final tips. Planning your time. We know how quickly this year has gone, so this is going to go quickly. 1st of December will be here before we know it. So make sure that you're planning your time and working as a team. The time management is important, but teamwork is really, really important in that self-paced experience, and it really, really will set you up for success when you come to university. Group assignments are going to be part of your journey as a student at UTS, and this will really give you a step ahead. Once you've familiarized yourself with these processes, you'll be able to take them to university and really help make those group assignments go smoothly. A reminder of the timeline, so our suggested timelines, for you, I know that you're starting this afternoon, so you're going to be on track and just penciling in those times. I know your teachers will support you with that, and working towards those step 7, which is that reflection. Finally, we just want to say good luck. We can't wait to watch your videos and to hear your brilliant ideas. We're excited to be reviewing those shortly. So if there's anything Asita or Steph would like to add, I think we can bring the session to a close.
Cool. Just any final questions from anyone, please feel free. We can hang on for another couple of minutes if anyone else has any other questions. Final tip, I guess, is trying to keep it really simple. The more ideas you have, in terms of the human-centered skills that you're looking at, the more complicated it can get. The simpler it is, the better it is, because it's really about selling your idea at the end of the day. Like Kay said, it doesn't matter how great an idea you have, if you're not able to articulate that to the audience who are trying to judge whether your idea is great, that's going to be the hard bit. So try and keep it simple. And I guess teamwork is not something that you're only learning now. It's right into the future. When you come into uni, everything is teamwork. Even in the workplace, everything is teamwork. Kay and I are from the career service. Steph is from the Center of Social Justice and Inclusion, and we're all from different units, but this is the work that we do together. So collaboration is huge in the future of work, and also the human-centered skills. So wishing you all the very best. We're very excited to see what's coming, because this is just the beginning for you in terms of university life and your career. So all the very best. I'll hand over to you, Steph.
Thanks, Asita. Yes, echoing what Asita was saying, teamwork is such a transferable, something you're going to use throughout your the rest of your high school, but also through uni and work as well. So this is a really exciting opportunity for you all. But thank you so much for your time today, for being online today, and we wish you all the best for your group work. Please know you do have support, so you can access, as Kay mentioned, the discussion boards. We'll have an ambassador this afternoon, and they'll be on from 2:30 to 4:30. So there's an opportunity there to ask your questions live to somebody. So please utilize that, and if not, there's Instagram Q&As, and we'll be making announcements as well to remind you of the dates as they come up. So make use of these, and if you have any other questions and you don't know where to go, you can always email us at uatuni@uts.edu.au, or touch base with your teacher, and we will be here to support you however we can. That's it from me. Asita, I'll just hand back to Kay to formally close.
Well, thank you, everyone, and just wishing you all the very best, and very excited about the next steps. Enjoy the rest of your day.